We're doing side one of part number 530017. The program's in, the stock's in, the collet's in, a lot of stuff that we already know how to do. This is a more detailed video about basic setups and what we're doing there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the overall length of the part, which is 1 inch 50 thousandths, 1.05 plus 0.433. Gives us 1 inch 483 thousandths. So now we're going to take that 1 inch 483 thousandths, find it on our caliper. We're going to pull out our bar stock, 1 inch 483 thousandths. Double check your caliper. 1 inch 500 thousandths plus or minus a couple is pretty easy. So now the stock's set. We need to make sure the face of the material is nice and smooth and faced properly. We usually do that before we start the setup. So we have a nice straight surface to register everything off of. We're going to go into the program here. We're going to go to NDI. We're going to go G97 S600 M3 EOB insert. We're going to make sure everything's clear. The turret is clear, the collet. Turn on the spindle. We're going to come in with tool number 1. We're going to come down slowly. We're going to make a chip on the face. We're going to come up off the part in X. We're going to slide over in Z. Move 10 thousandths. Come back to the single increment. Now we're going to come down and make a nice skim cut on the face. All the way down beyond 0. Bring it back up. Reset. Go to offset. Go to geometry. Tool number 1. And on this controller only, there is no tool measure. So on this controller, it's different than all the other ones. So you don't have to hit tool measure. You're in geometry. Tool number 1. Z dimension. You're going to go Z0 measure. Watch your numbers, make sure they change. Z0 measure. Slowly move the turret away from the spindle. Now you can index to your next tool. Your next tool is going to be tool number 5. We're going to bring up tool number 5. We have tool number 5. We're going to come in fast, now we're going to slow it down. We're going to move it X. We're going to take our 2000 shim. We're going to make sure we're in the geometry, tool number 5 offset. We're looking at Z, geometry. We're going to take our 2000 shim. We're going to slide it between the tip of the tool and the face of the rough stock we have. So you slowly come in until you get a little close, and now you want your shim stock to keep sliding until you can't pull on the shim stock anymore. As soon as you get to that point, you're going one click at a time. Now we can't pull the shim stock out anymore. So now after that happens, you go in the opposite direction, one click. Now the shim stock comes out. Come back over the controller. Z.002 measure. Z.002 measure. Now we've qualified our Z dimension for tool number 5. Now our next tool is going to be tool number 7, which is a 21 TPI OD threader. Same thing. Come in, always wipe the face of the tool, wipe the face of the stock to make sure there's no debris, since we're dealing with thousandths of an inch here. Come back down, slowly come in, get close, pull out the shim. Make sure you're in geometry, tool number 7, Z dimension. Same thing, shim, pull, one click at a time going towards the face. Can't pull the shim out anymore. One click, Z plus direction, shim comes out, Z.002 measure, Z.002 measure. Watch your numbers change. Make sure everything looks okay. Slowly move it out. Move it up. Turret's clear from the spindle and the stock. Nothing's going to hit when you rotate. This is very important that you're mindful of what is happening. Every time you hit the button, this turret's going to index. You want to make sure it's out of the way here and it's not going to hit anything. Now we're going to tool number 9. Go over to our geometry offset. We go 9, number search for the tool. We're going to bring number 9 down. This is our face groover. This is a 46 thousandths left-handed face groover with a 6,000 radius of the corner. Same thing, we got the shim. We're touching off on the face of the insert to the face of the rough stock here. Shim, nice and slow. Pinch, can't pull the stock, can't pull the shim anymore. Back it off 1. Shim comes out. Over to the tool. Z.002 measure. Z.002 measure. Tool is qualified, registered against the face. Slowly come off the part. You're aware where the turret is, relationship to the stock sticking out, index to the next tool. Number 22. We're going to call up tool 22. The easy way, there's 22. So that's our stock. So we're going to bring it in, and we're also making sure that the tools in the back aren't going to hit the collet chuck. So that's a common mistake that a lot of people make. They get so focused on what's going up here, they don't see what's going on in the back. And it's very important that you're mindful of everything going around the collet chuck. And the other thing is you want to make sure that when the collet chuck comes down, it's not going to smash into it, because it'll be going a lot faster than we're going right now. So now we're going to go to tool 22. Shim, face, bring it in slowly, a couple clicks at a time. Get closer. There it is. Shim won't come out. 1 click, Z plus direction. Shim comes out. Z.002 measure. Z.002 measure. Okay. Now we have our stock qualified, so we know where to bank this stock out when we push cycle start to begin the program. Now the part off tool is tool number 23. Same thing, slide over the 23Z geometry offset. Come in, get close, go slow, get closer, pull out from the shim, and you're touching off on the corner of the insert. So the left-hand corner of the insert is going to pinch against the shim and the face of the part. So same thing, shim nice and slow. Part off tool coming in towards the rough stock nice and slow. Slide the shim back and forth. Shim stops. Z plus 1 quick. Here we go, Z.002 measure. Z.002 measure. Now we've qualified all our tools. So now the machine knows that this is where all the tools are going to start from. So this is your Z0, and center line of the part will be your Z0 and your X0. So those are your 2 most important dimensions. So when it comes down to 0, you tell it Z minus 1 inch, it's going to come down here, and then it's going to slide all the way back 1 inch. Then Z. If you tell it X ½ inch, it would come all the way down, it would come off the top of the part, and then it's going to go down ½ inch, and it's going to cut that ½ inch. So now we can edit program reset. Always want to make sure you know where you're at in the program, in your process. It's very important to be focused, don't be talking. Make sure you know what's going to happen. Check, double check yourself. If you need to make a setup list where you check stuff off, that's fine. And with this setup, we're assuming that all the tools are in the turret already. Some of you guys know how to do that, some of you guys don't. Everybody's going to learn. That'll be a different video, but for right now, this is kind of a down and dirty setup video for doing a setup just to get you guys acclimated. The other important thing too with all this time? 10 minutes. 10 minutes, okay. the other important thing with this is you need to be able to read G-code and understand what's happening with the program, or what you think is going to happen with the program when you hit the button. So it's very important that you can look at a tool and identify as this tool an OD tool, an ID tool, a drill, a phase groover. By reading the lines of code, you should be able to interpret what the tool is going to do. So now we're going to push this back in. Want it sticking out maybe 100, 200 thousandths. A good rule of thumb for us is just the width of our clippers. 9 times out of 10, if something's sticking out only that far, we're more than safe. It's a good general rule of thumb. If you can eyeball that, that's fine. But I can pretty much guarantee you that if you're there and this comes down and everything's right, you're never going to have a problem. Okay, so now I go edit, program reset. I hit cycle start, everything's slowed down. We've gone from the rapid override slow, the optional stops on, and now we hit single block after the turret is engaged and moving in the Z- direction towards the part is when you hit cycle start. Watch your numbers on your absolute display. You can speed it up a little bit. Finger on the feed hold in case it starts moving in too far or pushing against something. Okay, so now it stops. We're going to pull the bar out. Make sure it's flush. We're going to make sure we're using the proper pressure. Hit cycle start. We'll speed it up. Same thing, tool number 2, which is tool number 1. So we slowed it down. We made sure the coolant's off. Make sure our optional stops on. Cycle start. The indexes. It's moving towards the stop. Now we're going to hit single block. We're going to let it come in a little faster. We're going to slow it down. And the important thing here is that you can read the M code and G code to make sure that you know. And our M code says it's in a position of X 900 thousandths, Z point 100 thousandths. You should be able to look at that and go, that's pretty close. If it was out here, it would mean that we're way off. If it was below center or on center, you'd be like, no way. Or if you were all the way up here or any position but this, if it doesn't look right, we did something wrong in the setup. We need to reset, troubleshoot, see what happened, and go from there. So now I'm going to hit cycle start again. Comes in a little closer. It comes into X.890 Z0, the feed rate of 2. And now it's going to come and it's going to make the phase cut. So I'm going to close the door. I'm going to turn the coolant on. I'm going to hit cycle start. I'm going to take my single block off. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. And I'm going to watch, listen, and feel the entire time. Make sure everything sounds good. Does the cut sound right? Does it sound like it's too rough? Does it feel right? Does it feel like it's, jumping around? Or does it feel like it's, felt all the other times we were in parts? So we're going through